Imagine this for a moment. You just sit down to study for just an hour, and when you stand up, you actually remember what you read. No stress, no confusion, no frustration, just pure understanding. Imagine going into an exam feeling calm, confident, and fully prepared. Not because you studied for 10 hours, but because you finally learned how to study smart. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Godwin Olim, and today I'm going to show you how to study smart, not hard, using simple techniques that actually work. Before we dive deep into these secrets, please make sure you like this video, share it with someone who needs it. Drop a comment telling me where you are watching from, and of course, subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos that will help you grow academically and professionally. Now, let's get into it. When most people think of studying, they imagine long nights, thick textbooks, reading same line over and over again, fighting sleep, drinking energy drinks, and praying their brain will somehow remember everything. But studying doesn't need to be this difficult. In fact, some of the highest performing students are not the ones who study the longest. They are the ones who study the smartest. And today, I will show you exactly how they do it. First, let's talk about the biggest problem most students face. They confuse activity with productivity. Just because you sit with your books for 5 hours doesn't mean you understood anything. It's like someone who goes to the gym and spends 4 hours taking pictures, stretching a little, walking around, pressing their phone. Then they say they exercised. No, they didn't. They were present, but they were not productive. The same thing happens with studying. Many students sit with their books physically, but mentally they are far away, thinking about food, thinking about their phone, thinking about football, thinking about sleeping, and then they wonder why their grades do not improve. Studying smart begins with intention. You must be mentally present. One of the most powerful principles that will help you study smart is understanding that your brain does not like stress. It likes clarity. If you open your book and you don't have a clear goal in your mind, your brain becomes overwhelmed. Imagine trying to clean an entire house in one day without a plan. You enter the kitchen, then leave it halfway, then go to the bedroom, then jump to the living room. At the end of the day, nothing is properly clean. But if you say, I will clean only the bedroom today, suddenly the work becomes easier. Your brain responds the same way. So, when you sit down to study, ask yourself, what exactly do I want to study in the next 1 hour? Maybe it's one chapter, maybe it's one concept. Give your brain something clear to focus on. Now, let's get into the real techniques. The first one is something I strongly believe every student should learn. Understanding before memorizing. Many students try to memorize what they don't understand. That is the fastest way to forget something. It's like trying to build a house on water. It will not stand. Think about a little child learning why a ball bounces. If you tell the child the ball bounces because of elasticity, the child may repeat it not because he understands it. But if you show the child a balloon, press it, let it expand back, and then you drop it on the floor and it bounces, the child suddenly understands the idea. Once understanding enters, memory becomes natural. So, before you try to memorize anything, ask yourself, do I really understand this? If the answer is no, slow down and break it into simpler parts. Another powerful technique is something called the Feynman technique, named after a famous scientist, Richard Feynman. It simply means if you truly understand something, you should be able to explain it in simple English, as if you are talking to a child. Try it. The next time you study a topic like photosynthesis, don't just close your book and walk away. Stand up and teach it out loud to an imaginary child. If you get stuck, that means you don't fully understand it yet. Go back, fill the gap, come back and explain it again. This technique is so effective because it forces your brain to process information deeply, not superficially. Another smart way to study is practice active recall. Active recall simply means testing yourself instead of just reading. Let me give you a real example. Imagine you are trying to memorize a phone number. If you just look at it again and again, you will forget. But if someone hides the paper and asks you, what is the number? You will force your brain to search for the answer. That searching process strengthens your memory. The same thing happens with studying. After reading a page, close the book and ask yourself, what did I just read? Do the same with a chapter. Do the same with important definitions. If you cannot remember, don't be angry. That is part of learning process. The more you recall actively, the stronger your memory becomes. There is another simple technique that works beautifully with active recall, and that is spaced repetition. Let me explain it with a simple example. Have you ever met someone for the first time, learned their name, and then forgot it after 5 minutes? But a few days later, active after hearing their name again and again, suddenly the name sticks permanently. That is spaced repetition at work. You remember things better when you review them at spaced intervals, not all at once. So instead of reading your notes 10 times in one night, read it today, read it again tomorrow, then in 2 days, then in a week, then in 2 weeks. Your brain will store the information long term without you processing it yourself. Another part of studying smart is understanding your environment affects focus. If your study space is scattered, your mind will be scattered. If your study space is noisy, your thoughts will be noisy. Imagine trying to wash clothes in a dirty bucket. No matter how much detergent you use, your clothes won't be clean. Your environment matters. Clear your table, remove distractions, put your phone far away. Create a space that tells your brain we are here to focus. Speaking of phones, let's be honest. The phone is one of the biggest enemies of concentration. Imagine reading for 10 minutes, then you check WhatsApp. You read again for 10 minutes, then you check Instagram. Your brain keeps jumping around like a radio changing stations. You cannot study effectively when your attention is divided. Put your phone on silent or leave it in another room. If you need it for schoolwork, turn off your data. Give your brain the gift of peace. Another technique I love is the Pomodoro technique. It simply means studying in short, focused sections, like 25 minutes of reading and 5 minutes of rest, or 45 minutes of reading and 10 minutes of rest. Let me explain why it works. Your brain is not a machine. It gets tired. If you force yourself to study continuously for hours, your brain reaches a point where it stops absorbing information. But when you give it small breaks, you recharge your energy and return with a fresher mind. Think about runners in a race. They don't sprint from start to finish in one straight burst. They take strategic breaths, adjust their pace, and maintain energy. Studying is the same. If you study in small repeated sessions, you avoid burnout and your concentration stays sharp. Another thing that will help you study smarter is knowing your learning style. Everyone learns differently. Some people love diagrams and videos because they are visual learners. Some people love listening to explanations. These are auditory learners. Some people understand better when they write things down. Others need to practice with their hands or solve problems themselves. Imagine trying to force a fish to climb a tree. It will struggle and fail, but puts the fish in water and suddenly performs effortlessly. In the same way, when you know your learning style, study becomes easier. Let's talk about real life for a moment. Think about a student who says, I read this 10 times, but I don't understand it. Often the problem is not the student. The problem is that the student is using the wrong style. If you learn better through videos, then use videos. If you learn better by teaching others, then teach. If you learn better by drawing diagrams, then draw. Don't copy your friend's method. Use what works for you. Another powerful yet underrated strategy is using past questions. Past questions give you insight into how examiners think. They show you patterns, common topics, likely questions, and topics that are often repeated. Imagine going to a job interview and somehow knowing the kind of questions they usually ask. Wouldn't you give, wouldn't that give you confidence? That's what past questions do for you. They help you prepare smart, not blindly. Let's talk about consistency. because this is the secret that ties everything together. You can know all the best study techniques in the world, but if you only study one day a week, nothing will change. Learning is like planting a seed. If you water it a little every day, the plant grows. But if you pour one bucket of water once every 2 weeks, that plant may die. Your brain needs steady feeding, not random rushes of stress. So make studying a habit, even if it's just 30 minutes a day, even if it's one small chapter. What matters is the consistency. Over time, the small efforts add up, and you will look back and be amazed by how much you have grown. Let me also say this: studying smart is not about perfection. You don't need to know everything, you just need to understand the right things well. Focus on the important concepts, focus on understanding deeply, focus on building confidence in your knowledge. Before I wrap up, let me give you one more example that ties everything together. Think of your brain like a garden. If you scatter seeds everywhere randomly, only a few may grow. But if you plant intentionally, water consistently, remove weeds, and give each plant light and space, your garden will flourish beautifully. Studying smart is like gardening intentionally. You don't waste energy, you don't overwork yourself, you apply the right techniques and at the right time, and the results will follow. So as you move forward after watching this video, remember, studying smart is possible for anyone. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to read for 10 hours. You just need the right strategies and a consistent routine. If this video helped you, please like it right now, share it with a friend who needs it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling me the technique you want to try first. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.